Alrighty, let's continue here. Rosa Parks, my story, how it all started. One of my earliest memories of childhood is hearing my family talk about the remarkable time that a white man treated me like a regular little girl, not a little black girl. Well, it was right after World War I, around 1919. I was 5 or 6 years old. Moses Hudson, the owner of the plantation, which is basically like a big farm, okay, that many slaves back in that time worked on. So think about a plantation as a large um, farm that workers, were working there, okay? And it was next to our land in Pine Level, Alabama. Came out from the city of Montgomery to visit and stop by the house. Moses Hudson had his son in law with him, a soldier from the North. They stopped in to visit my family. We Southerners called all Northerners Yankees in those days. The Yankee soldier patted me on the head and said I was such a cute little girl. Later that evening, my family talked about how the Yankee soldier had treated me like I was just another little girl, not a little black girl. In those days in the South, white people didn't treat little black children the same way as little white children. An old Mose Hudson was very uncomfortable about the way the Yankee soldier treated me. Grandfather said he saw old Mose Hudson's face turn red as a coal of fire. Grandfather laughed and laughed. Page 32. I was about 6 when I started school. Sylvester started a year later when he was around 5. We went to the one teacher black school in Pine Level in a little frame schoolhouse that was just a short distance from where we lived. It was near our church, the Mount Zion AME Church, right in the churchyard. In many places, the church was used as the school, but in Pine Level, we had a separate schoolhouse on the church grounds. We had first grade to sixth grade, and there were about 50 to 60 children in the one room. We sat in separate rows by age, and at certain times, the larger students would go up to read or recite, and then at other times, it was the smaller one's turn. My first teacher was Miss Sally Hill, and she was very nice. I remember she was a light brown skinned lady, and she was really large. She had really large eyes. When the children would tease me or say something to me about how small I would start crying, and I would go up and sit with her. And sometimes she would call me up and talk with me. I was already reading when I started school. My mother taught me at home. She was really my first teacher. I don't remember when I first started reading, but I must have been 3 or 4. I was very fond of books, and I liked to read and I liked to count. I thought it was something great to be able to take a book and sit down and read, or what I thought was reading. Any books I found where I couldn't read the words, I made up a story about it and talked about the pictures. At school, I liked fairy tales and Mother Goose rhymes. I remember trying to find Little Red Riding Hood because something had said it was a nice book to read. No matter what Miss Hill gave me to read, I would sit down and read the whole book, not just a page or two. And then I would tell her, I finished the book. Then I started learning to write, making my letters. I had Miss Hill for only a year. After that, Mrs. Balua McMillan was our teacher. We called her Miss Balua. She had been a teacher for a long time and had taught my mother when she was a girl. My mother had a picture of the same little school with the students in front of the schoolhouse on the steps. In rows on the steps and down on the ground, the shorter ones and boys were on their knees on the